Hello everyone and welcome to the Premiere Pro, where you'll learn everything you need to know to go from a 100% beginner to a professional level video editor. We'll release at least one new tutorial every week, and if there's anything you'd like to see covered in the future, let me know in the comments. All right, everybody, welcome to part 2. So we're going to take things a few steps further here. So basically what I've done is I've tinied this cup. We're just going to play it through once, and then I'm going to talk about what we did. Okay, so that's getting a lot closer to what we might consider a finished product. So what I really did here was, again, I tried to do these cuts on the beats. And I timed it all the way through, but if you look at the length of these clips, they're not all the same length. So what I did was I didn't always weight the same amount of measures or bars, because then that gets boring. Then it's predictive. Your audience will start to know when the cut's going to happen. The idea is that it's a nice, clean, unpredictable cut. So for here, I'm holding for 4 measures. Then for here, holding for 2. And then here I'm holding for 2. And then here's what I do. As this music picks up pace, for here I hold for 1 measure, and for here I hold for 1 measure. And then I do 2 again. So what you see is this gives it a rhythm. So now we pick up the pace. See how that picks up the pace? And we'll hold at that rhythm for a while. And then we're going to pick up the pace again. Two measures again. And then now we're going to let it breathe again. And also as the video winds down, we're going to let it breathe again. So if you notice, when the music picks up, we have quicker cuts, right? And that's what I mean about anchoring and locking it to your cut. And then as the music calms down again, you can see right here it's going to calm down again. Now we have slower cuts again. So that's really how you're going to time your cuts and make your video feel like more than just random clips, but you're telling an actual story. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is storytelling. Anyone can learn to manipulate this. You can do it in 10 minutes. It's telling a story that someone wants to watch. That's the hard part. So I'm going to try not to go too much longer.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But what I do want to show you, I'm going to go into this more in future videos, but I just want to show you that a couple of simple transitions can really polish this. So what we're going to do, just going to close this here. This is my project window. I haven't done this yet. We're going to go into the effects tab. And again, if you don't see this, go to window, make sure effects is selected, and you'll see that. This is going to be your bread and butter as an editor. Video transitions. And the most common and basic and useful transition is a dissolve. And literally what you want to do, maybe instead of coming in, right, already up, what if we want to fade up? We can just take this cross dissolve, drag it to the beginning of the clip, let go, and just like that, you're going to fade up. But you know what? This is really quiet and low. So I'm going to zoom in a little here, press plus. I'm just going to expand this out. So you can see it's showing how long the duration is. Now that's 1 minute or 30 frames. I'm going to make that, or I'm sorry, 1 second and 30 frames. I'm going to make this 2 seconds. I want a nice slow fade up. So now let's see how that looks. I'm going to hit spacebar to start. See, that feels a little bit more majestic and paced now. And then we have our cuts here. Now here's another thing we can do. Even on a cut point, that cut point is where it's going to transition, but you can do a transition there and still hit that beat. So what I'm going to do here, and this is a really cool one you're going to like, dip to black. I'm going to put that right in the middle. I don't want to go too far to the left or to the right. Right in the middle. And what this is going to do is exactly that. It's going to dip down to black. The cut point's going to be in the middle, and it's going to fade up. Now, what this does, again, this gives it a little more of a dramatic feel, more cinematic, and it paces it. So now, because we have 2 cuts in a row, and because we're going from this shot to a darker, we're going from this shot to the Statue of Liberty, this just gives it, it moves it along. We feel the passage of time a little bit. So now let's see what that looks like. And let's see. I felt like that shot hit a little bit late. And this is a good way to show you this tool. If you hit the letter N here, now you're going to have this rolling edit tool. If I click in between, now it hit late, which is backwards this way. If I want something to go sooner, it's left. I'm just going to slide this a couple frames sooner, and I want to see it come up right at the hit of that beat. So let's see what that sounds like. That was a little bit better. Let's see. I feel like that was still a little late, so let's go a couple more frames to the left because we want it to really come up right as that beat hits. I'm going to go just a little bit more. That felt pretty good. Let's try it again. Might have been a little soon that time, so we'll go back. And editing is trial and error. Let's try it again. Try one more time. It feels pretty good. Now, what I'd like to do here is do something a little more creative. So if I contract this clip a little bit, if I add a cross dissolve at the end, I'm going to bring it back. It's just because I didn't want to interfere with the other clip. I'm going to do a nice slow fade and then cut back up. And that, again, gives it a little more pacing and rhythm, and it kind of jars you. It keeps your audience from lulling them to sleep. You want them to be continually interested in what you're doing. So if you're just doing cuts or just doing the same thing all the time, it's not as interesting. You don't want to overdo it, but you just want to give it a little variety. So let's look at the duration of this. So this is, again, let's do about 2 seconds. We did our other slow fade. Now let's take a look at what this looks like. See that? So that just gave it a little bit of flavor. And now we're not just doing the same thing every cut. And here's another place that might be good to go to black, because we're going from this aerial shot to the ground. So we want to show that we've kind of moved in space and time. So this is another dip to black. Let's see what this looks like. And then the same thing. Now that we've done that, I might want to move this forward a little bit to time it better. Perfect. Now, we haven't done any dissolves yet, which is just a fade between shots. So maybe right here, we can fade it. That's a cross dissolve. Now, if you put it at the beginning, it's going to fade up. If you put it between clips, look what happens. And that makes it a little more interesting. Now, let's combine what we've done. I want a slow fade to black, but I also want that dip. And I want it to dip up too. So let's dip to black, and we're going to make this a lot longer. So if you want to go back to your regular mouse arrow, You can hit this here, or you can hit the letter V. Either one will do that. So let's expand this out to like a 2-second. And actually, this is a very good point. I can't go out to 2 seconds. Do you know why? Because the clip isn't long enough. So now let's just expand this out a little bit, and let's see how that looks. We're winding the video down. And then let's give it a nice slow fade. Now here's what we do. If we want a nice even slower fade, film dissolve. It's subtle, but it's a little bit more, it's a little smoother of a fade out. So let's give that 2 seconds as well. And let's see what that looks like. All right, there you go. So let's look at the whole thing one more time. Okay, so that'll do it for part 2. That's really it. Now you know how to edit with audio in Premiere. If you missed part 1, the link is in the description. And in volume 5, I'll show you how to add text and graphics and put the final polish on your edit. For more Premiere Pro tutorials, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and make sure to ring the notification bell. And as soon as the next volume is uploaded, you'll find the link in the description.